What happens when the scales of justice are not just unbalanced, but actively broken? When the very system sworn to protect citizens becomes the primary source of their fear? For generations, the promise of American equality has felt like a distant, often cruel, joke to many communities, especially when faced with the terrifying reality of police brutality. This is not just a story about legal strategy, it is a story about a movement, captured in the life of one man who refused to let the truth die in a courtroom. He was born into the quiet dignity of a strong family in Shreveport, Louisiana. His path was set not by accident, but by the systemic inequalities he witnessed from afar and close to home. Before he became the iconic figure whose voice echoed across the nation during the O.J. Simpson trial, before he was celebrated as the embodiment of black excellence in the legal field, he was simply Johnnie Cochran. He carried the hopes and the wounds of a people desperately seeking representation in a world designed to dismiss them. How did one attorney redefine the fight for civil rights, not through marches, but through the cross-examination of a witness? Stay with us as we uncover the incredible journey that forced America to finally look at what was happening on its own streets. The man who would become the legend Johnnie Cochran began his life in a world that was strictly defined by segregation. Born in 1937 in Shreveport, Louisiana, his foundation was rooted not in privilege, but in the unwavering strength of his parents. They were the first role models of black excellence he ever knew. His mother, a homemaker, dedicated herself to selling Avon cosmetics door to door, embodying the quiet hustle necessary for a black family to thrive in the era. She dreamed of her son becoming a doctor, a profession of undeniable respect. His father, Johnnie L. Cochran Sr., worked initially as a pipe fitter for a shipyard. But soon, seeking better opportunity and the promise of a fuller life, the family moved west to California. There, Cochran Sr. reinvented himself as a successful salesman, selling policies for Golden State Mutual Life Insurance, which was, at the time, the largest black-owned company in California. This pivot showed young Johnnie the power of ambition and community support within the black business world. Under the guidance of these strong, determined parents, Johnnie Jr. excelled. He was inspired by one pivotal legal victory that resonated deeply through the black community nationwide, the Brown v. Board of Education case, led by Thurgood Marshall. This landmark decision proved that the law, when wielded by brilliant black minds, could fundamentally change America. It rerouted Johnnie's ambition. He would pursue justice in the courtroom, not medicine. Attending Los Angeles High School, where black students numbered only about 20, he was a standout, graduating first in his class in 1955. He even shared school corridors with future Hollywood actor Dustin Hoffman, though their paths would diverge sharply in purpose. Cochran's trajectory of black excellence continued through higher education. He earned his Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Economics from UCLA, mastering the practical understanding of societal structures. He then went on to earn a Juris Doctor from the Loyola Law School. Upon passing the bar in 1963, Johnnie Cochran took a monumental step in Los Angeles. He became the first black law clerk and deputy city attorney in the criminal division. His early career showed flashes of the high-profile work he would later be known for. In 1964, he was involved in the effort to prosecute comedian Lenny Bruce on obscenity charges, a clash between the establishment and counterculture. But the true turning point, the moment that truly defined his commitment to fighting systemic bias, came 2 years later after he entered private practice. In 1966, Cochran represented the widow of Leonard Detweiler. Detweiler, a black man, was fatally shot by the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD. His supposed crime? Speeding and running red lights while rushing his wife, who was in labor, to the hospital. Cochran lost the case. This loss, however, fueled a fire, galvanizing him to dedicate his life to civil rights and aggressively taking on cases of police brutality. He understood that for the black community, the police were not always peacekeepers, but often a threat. This focus on injustice led him to one of the most consuming battles of his life, the defense of Black Panther leader Geronimo Pratt in 1972. Pratt was charged with the murder of a white school teacher. Though Pratt was convicted and unjustly spent 27 years in prison, Cochran's commitment never wavered. This was a long game of justice, one he was prepared to play for decades. In a surprising career move, in 1978, Johnnie Cochran decided to serve the system he often fought, accepting a massive pay cut, from $300,000 to $49,000 a year, to become the first black assistant district attorney in Los Angeles. It was a strategic move, allowing him to learn the prosecution's tactics and procedures from the inside, gathering the knowledge he would later use to dismantle their arguments. By 1983, he had returned to private practice, establishing the Cochran firm, ready to apply his hard-won knowledge to represent those whom the system sought to crush. His early years were not about building wealth, but building the intellectual and moral arsenal necessary to become the champion of the marginalized. Upon his return to private practice in 1983, establishing the Cochran firm in Los Angeles, Johnnie Cochran transitioned from a formidable challenger of the system to a dominant figure within it. His reputation for brilliance and unwavering commitment became a magnet for cases that exposed the deep fissures in American justice. He was not just a lawyer, he was a voice for the voiceless, a symbol of resistance against institutional abuses. This period was marked by a string of high-stakes victories that further cemented his place as a champion against police brutality. One pivotal civil case involved Ron Settles, a black football player arrested in 1981 who mysteriously died in his jail cell. The official report claimed suicide, but Settles' body showed signs of severe beating. Johnnie Cochran recognized the grim, familiar pattern of cover-up. He represented the family and secured a groundbreaking $1 million settlement, sending a clear, resounding message that such injustices would carry a massive financial and ethical cost. His success was not limited to civil rights. His acumen was sought after by the celebrity world, marking him as the preeminent attorney for those navigating the intersection of fame and legal peril. In 1990, he successfully negotiated the dropping of attempted murder charges against former Diff'rent Strokes star Todd Bridges. He proved that his fight for fairness was universal, even if his core constituency remained the marginalized. In 1992, following the searing public outrage over the Rodney King verdict, Cochran took a deeply complex and symbolic case, representing Reginald Denny. Denny, a white truck driver, was brutally beaten during the ensuing LA riots. Johnnie Cochran's argument was strategic and pointed, asserting that the LAPD was guilty of discrimination for failing to protect the neighborhood where Denny was assaulted. By framing the city's systemic negligence as a failure of justice for all citizens, he masterfully highlighted the broad, destructive reach of poor police governance. However, the 27-year saga of Geronimo Pratt truly illustrated the depth of Cochran's long-term moral commitment. Pratt, a Black Panther leader, was convicted in 1972 on murder charges widely believed to have been fabricated by law enforcement seeking to neutralize black political leaders. Despite the conviction, Johnnie Cochran never stopped fighting for his client's exoneration. This persistent, decades-long battle was a testament to the fact that for Cochran, justice was not a one-time win, but an ongoing moral obligation. He would later achieve the ultimate victory in this case, securing Pratt's release and a significant settlement, vindicating his faith in the truth. By the mid-1990s, the reputation of Johnnie Cochran as a legal powerhouse was unparalleled. In 1994, he successfully guided global superstar Michael Jackson through his first molestation case, culminating in prosecutors dropping criminal charges after Jackson agreed to an out-of-court settlement. He followed this by helping rap icon Snoop Dogg and his bodyguard get acquitted for murder on the grounds of self-defense, a victory that resonated powerfully within the hip-hop community. These cases showcased Cochran's unique skill. He excelled at presenting complex narratives with emotional resonance, balancing the demands of public opinion with the meticulous detail required by law. He became the face of black excellence in the courtroom, a sharp, eloquent, and formidable intellect who navigated the highest echelons of power while staying deeply connected to his roots. His success wasn't measured just in verdicts, but in the message he sent to young black Americans, that the highest halls of power were within their reach, and that their fight for justice had a champion who understood their reality. This relentless pursuit of truth and representation made him one of the most visible and influential attorneys in the world, setting the stage for the most explosive legal drama in American history. The year 1994 brought with it a storm that would irrevocably change the course of legal history and place Johnnie Cochran at the center of the American cultural consciousness. The O.J. Simpson trial. Charged with the brutal murders of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ronald Goldman, Simpson's defense team, led by Cochran, became known as the Dream Team. This was a case where the drama extended far beyond the courtroom, airing live to a rapt national audience. Cochran's masterful strategy transcended mere legal defense. It was a powerful narrative about race, celebrity, and the failures of the Los Angeles Police Department. He skillfully reframed the narrative, arguing that the investigation was tainted by racist elements within the LAPD, most notably Detective Mark Furman. His ability to connect Simpson's plight, a wealthy, famous athlete, to the systemic injustices faced by the average black man was nothing short of genius. The climax of this narrative came with the glove. During the trial, when O.J. Simpson struggled to put on the bloody glove found at the scene, Cochran delivered the iconic, instantly legendary phrase that resonated with the jury and the entire nation: "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." This single, rhyming line distilled the defense's complex argument, doubt about evidence equals innocence, into an unforgettable mantra. While the controversial verdict led to Simpson's acquittal, it simultaneously polarized the nation, exposing deep racial divides in the perception of justice and the legitimacy of the legal system. For his supporters, Cochran was a hero who held the police accountable. For his critics, he was an orchestrator of a controversial escape from accountability. Yet, amidst this high-stakes celebrity defense, Cochran remained committed to his roots in social justice. The true vindication of his career, a quieter but perhaps deeper victory, came in 1997. After a 27-year battle, a judge finally reversed the 1972 murder conviction of Black Panther leader Geronimo Pratt, a man Cochran never abandoned. Pratt was released, and later awarded a $4 million settlement. This decades-long fight against government overreach and fabricated evidence against Geronimo Pratt exemplified the moral core of Johnnie Cochran far more profoundly than the Simpson case ever could. It was a tangible victory over systemic oppression, a hallmark of his fight against police brutality. His influence extended deep into the music world, too. He was hired by Suge Knight to handle all the legal cases for Tupac Shakur after signing the legendary rapper to Death Row Records. He also successfully helped Snoop Dogg navigate his own serious legal troubles, ensuring that these black cultural figures had access to the highest level of legal defense available. The personal cost of this high-pressure life became evident in 1998 when Cochran faced a private tragedy. His brother, Rolando Cochran, was found shot to death on a sidewalk in central Los Angeles. In a display of profound, deeply Christian forgiveness, Johnnie Cochran asked the district attorney not to seek the death penalty for his brother's killer. This request was a powerful, humanizing moment that contrasted sharply with the aggressive image of the celebrity lawyer. It demonstrated that his beliefs in justice extended beyond the courtroom and into a deeply personal code of ethics. By the dawn of the new millennium, Johnnie Cochran was looking to close the chapter on criminal defense, concluding one of the most storied and impactful careers in modern American law. The year 2001 marked the intended curtain call for Johnnie Cochran's criminal defense career. He took on the case of Sean P. Diddy Combs, who was charged with weapons and bribery stemming from a nightclub incident. Working alongside other formidable attorneys, Cochran secured an acquittal, a final, high-profile demonstration of his courtroom power. Following this monumental win, Johnnie Cochran publicly announced his retirement from criminal law, signaling an end to an era defined by his ability to challenge the police and prosecutors' narrative in the highest courts. However, the spotlight continued to find him, even in retirement. Rumors circulated that he declined to represent R. Kelly in the singer's escalating legal battles and criminal cases right after the Diddy trial, a choice that underscored his discerning approach to client selection, despite the potential fame and fees. He had earned the right to choose battles that aligned with his enduring principles. The quiet of his retirement was short-lived, interrupted by devastating news. In December 2003, Johnnie Cochran was diagnosed with a brain tumor. He underwent surgery in April 2004, but the disease was aggressive. On March 29, 2005, at the age of 67, he passed away at his home in Los Angeles. Cochran's death was a profound loss, but it amplified the discussion around his legacy. He was the most influential attorney of his generation who consistently embodied black excellence in a profession dominated by white power structures. His willingness to take on cases of police brutality, from Leonard Detweiler to Ron Settles, ensured that police misconduct could not be simply swept under the rug. Even the most sensational case, the O.J. Simpson trial, ultimately served his broader goal, forcing a national reckoning on race and justice. He used his platform to educate America on the deep-seated distrust between law enforcement and the black community. He fought for the marginalized while guiding the most famous black celebrities through legal pitfalls, bridging the gap between the hood and Hollywood. His work was a powerful, practical testament to the idea that dignity and justice could be demanded, and sometimes won, even when standing against overwhelming institutional force. The world watched, learned, and debated his every move, confirming his place not just as a lawyer, but as a critical figure in American civil rights history. The death of Johnnie Cochran did not mark the end of his influence. It cemented his legacy as a titan who fearlessly challenged the American justice system. He was a complex figure, a master of both the legal code and public opinion, yet his unwavering moral compass was always pointed toward justice for Black America. He forced the nation to confront its dual system of law enforcement, where police brutality was often met with silence, and exposed how the legal process could be weaponized against the marginalized. His most famous case, the O.J. Simpson trial, became a historical flashpoint, but his truer, deeper work lay in lifting up figures like Geronimo Pratt, proving that even after decades, the fight for the innocent is never over. He was an architect of Black excellence, using his intellect, style, and charisma to open doors for generations of Black legal professionals who followed. Today, his story continues to be told. The movie about his life, reportedly titled Signal Hill, with actor Anthony Mackie set to play him, and Jamie Foxx playing Geronimo Pratt, ensures that his commitment to civil rights and his dramatic courtroom victories will remain a part of American lore. His book, A Lawyer's Life, stands as a primary testament to the principles that guided his career. But the real measure of Johnnie Cochran's legacy is found not in films or books, but in the enduring necessity of his fight. Every time an attorney challenges systemic bias, every time a family stands up against injustice, his voice echoes. Some stories end without closure, but dignity doesn't need applause. Johnnie Cochran gave strength and vision to the marginalized. To anyone who has ever felt unseen by the system, remember his resolve. What is one case of systemic injustice you have witnessed in your community? Share it below. Let's keep the dialogue of accountability alive, because the true fight for justice, like the legacy of Johnnie Cochran, is never finished. If this story resonated with you, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to honor the figures who defined Black excellence in America.